Wow. So it's October. Year's not even fully done yet. And this year has just been so notable. Like, I didn't want to say great, but notable, bruh. Oh man, 2020 must have been the worst year, period, because, the pandemic. 2021 was pretty bad too. All those other years, to be honest, weren't great. But it's like, because 2020 was so rock bottom, things could only get so spicy from there. And to be honest, even though all these people are bad and what they did was bad, and I wish that they didn't hurt these people that they did, their victims, it's been a very spicy year, man. A lot of things have got me glued to my computer screen. All this, of course, is YouTube related. I mean, in the real world, things are kind of bad for me too. I mean, you know about the job market, about all the election stuff. But when I go into the net, as the old people would say, I like to be entertained by this stuff. So many people got exposed. So many people. Some were surprising. Others were not. Some, I just couldn't believe it. Others, we should have seen it. Without further ado, I'm going to talk about all these people and just how evil and messed up they really are. Obviously, this year, you got to talk about Epstein. And to be honest, out of all these people, he's got to be the worst one because he's been doing it for decades. He's the oldest guy on this list. He's been doing it for decades. He had the most money. I think this guy was like a billionaire or whatever. And if you know anything, these predators, when they have money, they will do anything and make anything shake in order to get their rocks off. As you know, he was getting these massages from these young girls. He would even get these girls to go get even more girls who would come in and give him massages. He would give him $200, which to a high schooler is like a crazy amount of money, right? Just for a massage, right? But for him, it'd be like pennies because he's a billionaire, right? I think this guy is evil on so many fronts. Not many people know where his money comes from. He clearly has manipulated very rich people to achieve what he has achieved. And he's also rubbed shoulders with literally the elite of the elite when it comes to humanity. We're talking presidents, former presidents, right? And for him to have gone so long without being seen, I'm just glad that in the end, we finally saw him for what he really was. If you're from England or Britain, right, your Epstein is like that Jimmy Cavill guy, right? I think that's his name. I watched his documentary on Netflix and it was just wow. Because I didn't know who that guy is, but I think in the UK, he was a very famous person and he also was a predator. But unlike Epstein, that guy died without getting caught, without getting exposed. But Epstein did get exposed for what he really is. And I think he, apart from all them else, I mean, if there's a tier list of evildoers, he's got to be the most evil one. Next up, let's talk about Chris Tyson. Now, Mr. Beast is huge on this platform. I mean, you really can't get bigger than him. And it's been like a whirlwind. He came in and just wowed everyone. His videos were good in the beginning, and I found myself not really enjoying them anymore. Not because of all the controversy he's gotten, to be honest. I'm really good at separating the man from the people that he associates himself with. I really don't have many things to complain about Mr. Beast. I mean, the people he's around can be evil, but up until now, I really don't have anything concrete to knock him for. But Chris Tyson, who he was very close to, who was there before he even blew up, who ended up being transgender, which that's not the problem here, right? I mean, I think he was like a bad dad or whatever. That was very problematic and I have an issue with that. But turns out he was supporting this guy who would make like this art of little kids doing stuff with adults, which is horrific. I think he did that to like Keemstar's daughter, which I hate Keemstar, but that's taken it way too far. I mean, I would hate on Keemstar, who's the bad person, leave his family and his daughter out of this. I mean, she's just not even included in this. But also, apparently they were having inappropriate conversation with minors, which is also a no-no. I think the biggest thing that we all have to understand is these people are famous on the internet, on YouTube. And I think the biggest audience on YouTube are kids. Right? Not only are kids like a huge consumer of YouTube, but they're also the ones that would go as far as getting in Discords and really deifying these people. I mean, to me, who's an adult with rational functioning minds, I get it, you're famous, but you're famous on YouTube. In the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. But these kids, these are their celebrities. I mean, these are their professional athletes or whatever. So they would love the chance to talk with them. And that's why these people will definitely get in trouble, will definitely be in situations where they are talking to minors because, I mean, bruh, it's only inevitable unless they're smart. So that was the Chris Tyson thing. That was a big thing. And people weren't so harsh with that person, even though they should have been. Next, there was the Kick guys. You know, the guys who were on Kick doing that naughty stuff. There was the Riot LOL guy, and then the other guy who I think I don't know what his name is. Like, he said like Colton or something. The guy who would call himself the 6'3" Zara model, who was really cringe, who thought he was really, really like hot shit. those guys did some naughty things because they would do that video chatting thing with minors, and the Riot LOL guy especially, he would try to get these girls to get naked on screen, and then he would literally show that to his Discord, which, man, I just don't understand the degeneracy of kick streamers, man. This is what happens when you decide you wanted to make your own platform for streaming, but then not be so harsh and have harsh guidelines like Twitch. It's going to invite all the freaks. Speaking of freaks and freak-offs, this was also the year of Diddy getting exposed. I mean, Diddy's exposure was crazy. I'm pretty sure all this happened within a span of a year. I mean, I think I saw a picture or something online that said, like, Diddy, in the beginning of the year, he was accepting the key to a city, and then now he's in prison. I mean, I think people have been talking about Diddy for the longest. I think people have known something was off about that guy for the longest. I don't know why people had a problem with Suge Knight and Tupac, but didn't really have so much of a problem with Diddy and Biggie. You know what I'm saying? Because people were saying there was some funny stuff going on with Diddy since the beginning. He was also one of those people very similar to Epstein, who was brushing shoulders with very influential people. And I have to say that in the industry, in the business industry and movie industries, you really can't get far. Back then, you really couldn't get far without doing some strange. What I mean by that is, what's the other guy's name? The Weinstein guy who would make all these actresses and actors, do stuff for him in order to get casted. That was a whole thing, bro. I swear that's a thing. And I believe that Diddy, bro, I watched it somewhere, but apparently for him to get his big break, I think he was doing favors for one of the executives or what, for one of the executives or whatever. And he's been freaky ever since. For him to get all the way to the tippy top, he did some nasty things. And then when he got to the top, he didn't stop. He just did nasty, freaky stuff with all kinds of people who hasn't freak offs. They found bottles of baby oil. One can only imagine the type of debauchery that was happening with that baby oil. Keep in mind, this guy had a young Usher and a young Bieber with him, bruh. And those were just the famous guys that we know that he had up in his compound or his house. Imagine all the no-name young boys he had up in there, bruh. There's even rumors that he did nasty stuff with dogs and animals. If he was willing to do nasty stuff with dogs and animals, then I have no doubt in my mind he did stuff with boys, young boys, right? Diddy was very nasty and evil, and people should have known. People had a feeling that that was a thing for the longest. 2024 was just the year that he got exposed. Next is Dr. Disrespect. Now, I feel kind of weird about this one, right? Because I thought he was funny. This is the only Twitch creator guy that I actually think is genuinely funny, bro. The whole act, the appearance, and the whole thing that... It's hilarious to me. I'll admit it. I think a lot of the gamer stuff is kind of cringe, right? But he should have been cringe. But when I watch him in his gaming, I think he's hilarious. I thought he was hilarious. No. I still think he's hilarious. I don't support anything that he did. I think he's gross. I think he's wrong. I think he's fucked up. But he's funny. Anyways, so Dr. Disrespect was the one who was also messaging minors on Discord. And I told you, man, the minors are going to try to contact these people. It is their responsibility to keep it cordial, keep it moving, keep it respectful, right? Keep it not nasty. But they always slip up, dude. It is funny because, I mean, I've been saying it for the wildest, right? The money and the fame, bro, it brings these people to access certain things. And, bro, he just, I'm so disappointed in that because this guy had a whole, like, family, a wife. He's in his mid-30s. It's kind of crazy, right? I mean, the fact that he was like messaging these minors is one thing, but like, you got a whole wife and kids. You should really have just paid like attention to them. And it's so interesting because he totally fumbled the bag, bro. How do you fumble the bag so hard? It's wild to me. I mean, I think to myself, bro, if I'm in a situation like that, because I know he was making a bag, bro. He had to have been. I mean, at some point he was like the #1 guy on Twitch, and then he went to do his own thing. I'm sure YouTube pays pretty well. He fumbled the bag hard. Over what? Also, bro, I think this year I really started watching some of those Predator catchers, the parodies of like the To Catch a Predator stuff with Chris Hansen, the guys that actually do this in IRL. Like, it's like not as like there's no production behind it, kind of like To Catch a Predator or whatever, but like they actually just have like phones and are live streaming these catches. I think the guy who does it the best, who does it the funniest and most entertaining is Skeeter Jean, right? I think the guy that I watch the most is Alex Rosen, and I think another guy who also I have to give his props for is the Colorado Pet Patrol guys. And then I also want to disown the guys that are beating up these predators. That's not the right way, even though we all want to do it. I think the best way to make sure that they get caught and prosecuted the best way is to like not put hands on them. Let them go to prison. They'll get plenty of hands put on them. Now, one of the surprising ones that I was talking about is Cody Ko. Well, first of all, not gonna hate on him too much because like I don't just want to hate on him, but I've always, and I don't want to be that guy who says I knew it, I saw it coming, but bro, I always thought this guy was kind of like corny, right? I've never watched this video and laughed, and I know what you're thinking. What if he wasn't? No, he was actively trying to be funny, but he was never funny to me, which I will get in the end of the people who I think are up next, because I've got my own theories, and it's always the guys that are corny, bro, but are famous for some reason. You gotta watch out for Cody Ko. Obviously, he like slept with Tana Mojo, who's this this dummy. I've always thought she was dumb. Clearly, she was dumb. I think the last time I remember watching her was when she got into that stuff with iDubbbz, when iDubbbz was saying the N-word, and he went to one of her like meetups and he said the N-word, and she got all uncomfortable, even though she had been saying the N-word. But at the time, she was 17 and he was 25. Now, that's bad. But I think what made it even worse is the fact that somebody warned him. Like that chick with the nose had like said that she actually approached him and was like, yo, she's 17, bro. Don't do it. And he was like, oh, okay, thanks for telling me. And then he proceeded to smash. That's how you know you're really evil. I mean, it's one thing to like not know because she's at this party and you assume that she's an adult. But if somebody came to you and told you, yo, she's a minor, and then you still do it, you're evil, bro. And I hope he doesn't come back. I don't even know. I haven't checked his channel, but I hope there's no comeback for that because you were warned, bro. And finally, I think the goofiest one and kind of like funniest one is the white Bowser. If you don't know, it's that weird white guy with an afro, and that should always set you off, bruh. Something weird about white guys with afro. But yeah, when he talks, I think he's like slow, but apparently he's not slow because everyone's picking on him and it's okay. Like I thought it was, because obviously it's not okay to like make fun of a slow guy. But I mean, what did he do? He like grabbed some miner's boob at his job, and he also watches like young girl anime porn or whatever. All weird, not okay. And he's basically a locale. Like they're messing with this guy bad, and I find it hilarious because he also has a speech impediment, so he sounds really funny when he talks. But yeah, I mean, I basically consumed that content. I never actually consumed any of his real content back when he was a YouTuber for obvious reasons, but now I watch the people who mess with him and also make these videos about him. And finally, I want to leave you off with who I think is next. I get a real funny feeling from Steve Harvey. I've been talking about it for the longest, but somebody watch out for Steve Harvey. It's that same funny feeling that I got with with Cody Ko and Diddy. I would hate for Steve Harvey to be doing stuff and then, you know, eventually die and we don't find out. But I think, hey man, if I had to gamble on the next person to get exposed, Steve Harvey, man, he's not trustworthy. I get a real funny feeling about that guy. But yeah, 2024, Year of the Predators, man. Nasty work.